I'm a dreamer, I'm a visionary, I'm a leader, I'm extraordinary. Though life can get you down sometimes, it seems. I'll never let it take away my dream.
Hi, I'm Eloise Gibson, the 2015 Dreamers, Visionaries, and Leaders Lifetime Achievement honoree. Did you know that the first licensed Black pilot in history was a woman? Her name is Bessie Coleman, and she learned to fly in 1921, 2 years before Amelia Earhart. Know your history.
Hi, I'm Colonel George Armstrong III, the 2015 Dreamers, Visionary, and Leaders Lifetime Achievement honoree. Did you know that in 1994, John D. Hopper Jr. became the first Black graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy to be promoted to General Officer rank? He returned to his alma mater to become the first Black Commandant of Cadets in U.S. Air Force Academy history. Know your history.
Hi, I'm Bianca Johnson, a 2015 Dreamers, Visionaries, and Leaders honoree. Did you know that the first Black editor of the Harvard Law Review was Charles Hamilton Houston in 1919? And the first Black president of the Harvard Law Review was also the first Black president of the United States, Barack Obama. Know your history.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Colonel James Michael F.W. Yates, a 2015 Dreamers, Visionaries, and Leader honoree. Did you know that on June 15, 1877, Henry O. Flipper became the first Black to graduate from West Point? During the graduation ceremony, he was the only cadet to receive a standing ovation. Know your history.
Hello, I'm 2014 DVL honorees Barbara Williams. Did you know that many African Americans descended from people who lived in Central and Eastern Africa? Of particular importance was a 300-mile stretch of land in East Africa between the Congo and Gambia Rivers. At least 1 out of every 10 African Americans, more than 200,000 in the north and another 200,000 in the south, were free when the American Civil War broke out in 1861. The 13th Amendment to the Constitution, ratified in 1865, officially outlawed slavery in the United States and thus freed thousands of African Americans. It also outlawed any sort of forced labor except as punishment for a crime. Know your history. Now, here's my husband and fellow honoree, Paul Williams.
Thanks, Barbara. Hi, I'm 2014 DVL honoree Paul Williams. Did you know that in response to a growing demand for government action, Congress passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This far-reaching law prohibited discrimination in public facilities, employment, education, and voter registration. It also banned discrimination not only by race and color, but by gender, religion, and national origin. Know your history.
In 1957, a life's mission of helping others help themselves began here in the high desert. Despite the perceived barriers and discouragement, a legacy prevailed. A legacy rooted in education and achievement, several of which were first for a person of color in this county.
Thank you so much for making time for us to be here today, to be here in the John Lavelle Auditorium and Multipurpose Building. This is really exciting. And for Black History Month, it is especially exciting because quite often we feel like those who are leaving legacies and who are our icons don't necessarily live here in the high desert. But that's not the truth when it comes to John Lavelle. How long have you known Mr. Lavelle?
You know, I've been in the district for 20 years, And he's always been a major part in the district. Since I started my first day of teaching, we knew who John Lavelle was. So
wow.
Yeah, he's been a big part in this district. A huge contributor to our culture here in Victor Elementary School District. And I say huge loosely. He's had a major impact on the culture here in Victor Elementary School District.
For over 58 years, this man has educated, inspired, and motivated students, parents, teachers, administrators, colleagues, family, and friends. In 2002, on the campus of the Discovery School of the Arts, located in Victorville, California, the John L. Lavelle Auditorium Multipurpose Room was dedicated. We sat down with Mr. Lavelle to hear his thoughts and feelings of that day back in 2002.
This dedication was extremely humbling to me. And as I recall, 14 years ago, Ralph Baker and I stood here, and when it was actually told that this is now officially the John Lavelle Auditorium, I just thought back at a time in which some of my ancestors couldn't go in stores or buildings, and when they did, they had to go and drink water from a specific place. And then I thought about, and here this evening, I'm being dedicated a building. And so I accept that in honor of myself, my family, and most definitely my ancestors, because on that evening, I felt they were all here, standing behind me and cheering me on. All right.
Today, in 2015, Mr. Lavelle remains actively engaged in the education of our children and young people. He mentors and advises educators, volunteers with several organizations, including his church. John L. Lavelle indeed is a dreamer, visionary, and leader.
Hi, I'm 2014 DVL honoree Derek King. Did you know that in 1954, the U.S. Supreme Court declared that segregating black and white students in separate schools was unconstitutional? Arkansas continued to segregate schools until 1957, when 9 black students attempted to attend the all-white Little Rock Central High School. Governor Orville E. Faboose called out the National Guard to prevent them from entering. In response, President Dwight D. Eisenhower ordered federal troops to Arkansas to enforce integration. After a period of crisis and adjustment, the schools integrated without further incident. Know your history.
I'm 2014 DVL honoree Roxanne Young. Did you know that African Americans legally became United States citizens when the 14th Amendment was ratified in 1868? It defined a United States citizen as anyone born or naturalized in the United States, a definition that includes most African Americans. Know your history. The national theme for African American History Month 2014 is Civil Rights in America. It marks the 50th anniversary of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Here with more information is my fellow honoree, Rita Jackson.
Thank you, Roxanne. Hi, I'm 2014 DVL honoree Rita Jackson. Did you know that the 60s were born on February 1st, 1960, over 50 years ago, when 4 African American students staged the first sit-in at a segregated lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina. Since then, the mythology of the 60s have dominated the idea of youthful activism. Of the 3 big events of the early civil rights movement, the 1954 Brown versus Board of Education decision, the 1955 through 56 Montgomery bus boycott, and the sit-ins have always been the least understood and yet the most important for today's young activists. Know your history.
I'm Dr. Mildred Henry, 2016 DVL Lifetime Achievement honoree. Did you know that between the 1890s and 1958,
African American settlement patterns in Los Angeles underwent several distinct phases. Central Avenue was the hub for much of this period. These National Historic Sites housed African American business and community organizations in the area, including the Lincoln Theater. Know your history.
I am Dr. Vincent Anyamachuku, 2016 DVL Lifetime Achievement Honoree. Did you know that about 6 million blacks left the South between 1910 and 1970 to move to other parts of the country in what has become known as the Great Migration? Know your history.
I'm Dr. Lakita Emanuel, a 2016 DVL honoree. Did you know that Metropolitan AME Church is the oldest African Methodist Episcopal church in D.C., having been built in 1838? Throughout its history, the church has had parishioners who were very important in the history of Washington's African American community, including Frederick Douglass and Althea Turner. Funeral services for Frederick Douglass and former U.S. Senator Blanche K. Bruce were held at the church. Know your history.
On August 21st, 2014, this school was named and dedicated in honor of Gus Franklin Jr. Mr. Franklin, for 18 years, served as Adelanto School District's Director of Maintenance, Operations, and Transportation. His exceptional work ethic, commitment to excellence, and compassion for others serves as a role model for current and future generations. Gus Franklin Jr. STEM Academy, just like the man, has no boundaries for learning. With a high focus on the fundamentals and science, technology, engineering, and math, students are encouraged to not just think outside the box, but remove the box from learning.
With the board and the superintendent and the previous administration, they decided to go to Florida and visit a school in Florida that had this design, cafe style of learning. And this room is called EDGE, Explore, Dream, Grow, Excel. And they decided that they wanted to see what would happen with students if they could learn in an environment that didn't look like rows. It didn't look like how we used to go to work, assembly lines where they used to sew all at the same times, and that's the way classrooms are set up. These classrooms are set up so that students can learn at their rate, their level, and we help them where they are. And the goal is for them to accelerate, not to remediate, to accelerate. This room was designed with an astronomy theme for sixth grade only. The pictures are actual pictures from the Hubble Space Telescope. We have the Crab Nebula, the Cat's Eye. We have real pictures of Earth, some other galaxies, the moon. It's my dream classroom.
I sat down with Mrs. Franklin, who graciously shared her insight about the man who was also her husband.
Oh my goodness, an incredible man who loved mankind, was a true servant to mankind. He had instant camaraderie with whomever he met. And people just loved him. And he was always willing to listen to anyone. And when they left him, they felt rejuvenated and refreshed, because he had the willingness to hear what they had to say. And it made for a strong connection between the two of them. And people just loved him for that. Yeah.
We are proud to honor Mr. Gus Franklin Jr.
I'm Gloria Roberts, a 2015 Dreamers, Visionaries, and Leaders honoree. Did you know that the first African-American film company was Lincoln Motion Picture Company, established in 1960? Know your history.
Hi, I'm Dr. Melda Gaskins, a 2015 Dreamers, Visionaries, and Leaders honoree. Did you know that in 1864, Rebecca Lee Crumpler was the first African-American woman to get a medical degree? Crumpler became a physician at a time when most doctors were white men. She graduated from the New England Medical College in Boston, Massachusetts. She also wrote a book on health care for women and children. Know your history.
Hi, I'm Al Merriam, a 2015 Dreamers, Visionaries, and Leaders honoree. Did you know that the first Black U.S. Supreme Court Justice was Thurgood Marshall, who served from 1967 to 1991? Clarence Thomas became the second African American to serve on the court in 1991. Know your history.
Well, we're here on the campus of Adelanto High School with none other than Julian Weaver. And what an honor it is for us to be here today. On behalf of DVL, we're getting ready to celebrate 10 years, can you believe it?
That's great.
Of work in this community. But we're here today to have a little conversation with Mr. Weaver. And we intentionally selected this campus because this campus is very special to you in a very special way, because as I understand it, there's a stadium that has your name on it.
Yes, there is. That's Julian Weaver Stadium, and it was quite a surprise to me when the board made a decision to name that stadium after me, especially since I'm still alive. So,
which is wonderful, right?
Yes, it is.
It's that analogy of you want to smell your flowers while you're still living, right?
Absolutely.
Right. So, Julian, take me back a little bit. Tell me about your history, especially in education here in the high desert, because I know it's lengthy and extensive.
Well, yeah, I'd like to share that with you. There aren't very many people, except those that have been close to me, that realized that I grew up and raised here in the high desert, specifically Bell Mountain. Mm-hmm. I graduated, I went from first grade through 12th grade in the Victor Valley school system. Graduated from high school in 1965 and was fortunate enough to get an athletic scholarship to play football at California Western University in San Diego, which is now United States International University. I spent 20 years in a variety of different positions at Victor Valley High School. When I first started teaching there, I taught American government and sociology and Black history. And in my third year of teaching, I really started to observe how the Black kids, African American kids, were kind of disenfranchised. And in Victorville, it was not an overt disenfranchisement, it was a very subtle disenfranchisement. So I said, okay, I'm going to get into administration. 26 years of age, and I'm an assistant principal at a comprehensive high school I graduated from, etc. 78, I applied for the principalship of Victor Valley Junior High School. Changed the culture of that school within 3 years. I mean, it was a really wonderful, absolutely nice environment when I left there. So then I applied for the principalship of Victor Valley High School when Don Conde retired. And I got the job. And that was 1980. Okay, I'm where I wanted to be, and that was to be in a position where I could dramatically impact, change attitude, behaviors of both adults and kids. So my 10 years as principalship there was a really exciting time for me.
Because again, I go back to 1917, your family here in Bell Mountain. And today, 2017, we're sitting here on the campus of one of the most technology-forward schools. This is one of the most state-of-the-art schools, not just in our area, but in the state of California, right?
Absolutely.
With not only an African-American as the leader here, but an African-American woman, and we have an African-American man's name on the stadium.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'm Nina Blasey, a 2016 DVL honoree. Did you know that Bridget Biddy, Mason Monument Honors, one of the first prominent citizens and landowners in Los Angeles, California? During the 1850s and 1860s, Mason, a former enslaved person, founded the first African-American Methodist Episcopal Church in 1872. Know your history.
Hello, I'm Joan Rutter Ward, a 2016 DVL honoree. Did you know that in August of 1908, Colonel Allen Allensworth and 4 other settlers established the town of Allensworth, 30 miles north of Bakersfield, with the goal of constructing a thriving community? A community where blacks could create a better life for themselves outside of segregated U.S. society. Now a state historic park, it features many restored buildings, including the Colonel's House, historic schoolhouse, Baptist church, and library. Know your history.
Hi, I'm Joseph Moon, a 2015 Dreamers, Visionary, and Leaders honoree. Did you know that the first black to receive a patent was Thomas L. Jennings in 1821 for a dry cleaning process? He used the money he earned from the patent to purchase relatives out of slavery and to support abolitionist causes. Know your history.
I'm Lynette Ramirez, the 2015 Dreamers, Visionary, and Leaders honoree. Did you know that in 1950, Gwendolyn Brooks was the first African American to win the Pulitzer Prize for poetry? Know your history.
Hi, I'm Cornelius Page Jr., a 2015 Dreamers, Visionary, and Leaders honoree. Did you know that the first medical school for blacks was Howard University Medical School, established in 1868 in Washington, D.C.? Know your history.
DVL honoree Dr. Joseph Morris. Did you know that the son of escaped slaves from Kentucky, Elijah McCoy, was born in Canada and educated in Scotland? At that time, railroad locomotives needed to be shut down periodically to be lubricated to avoid overheating. The frequent stops prevented railroads from being profitable until McCoy developed the lubricating cup for steam engines, which kept locomotives constantly lubricated, preventing frequent stops and overheating. Did you know he patented the lubricating cup in 1872? It represented the most profitable of his more than 58 patents, which included a folding ironing board and an automatic sprinkler. Know your history. Here's fellow honoree Superintendent Elvin Moman with another first fact.
Thank you, Dr. Morris. Hi, I'm 2014 DVL honoree Elvin Moman. Did you know that we began walking in space in 1965? In February 1995, 30 years after the first walk in space, astronaut Bernard A. Harris Jr. became the first black person to walk in space. Black astronaut Robert L. Kervane Jr. holds the spacewalking record. He made 4 spacewalks during a space shuttle mission in December 2006. There were other firsts on that mission. The first time 2 blacks went into space together, and the first time a black man and woman were in space together. The black woman astronaut was Joan E. Higginbotham. Know your history.
Curtis Green. Did you know that retired Marine Corps Major General Charles Frank Bolden Jr. became the 12th administrator of NASA and NASA's first ever black administrator on July 19, 2009? As administrator, he leads his NASA team and manages resources to advance the agency's mission and goals. His 34-year career with the Marine Corps included 14 years as a member of NASA's astronaut office. After joining the office in 1980, he traveled to orbit 4 times aboard the space shuttle between 1986 and 1994, commanding 2 of the missions. His flight included deployment of the Hubble Space Telescope and the first U.S.-Russian shuttle mission, which featured a cosmonaut as a member of his crew. Know your history. Now, with another historical fact, is my fellow honoree, Eddie Strings Martin. Over to you, Eddie.
Thanks, Curtis. Hi, I am 2014 DVL honoree, Eddie String Martin. Did you know that on April 15, 1947, Jackie Robinson, at age 28, became the first African-American player in Major League Baseball? Robinson broke the color barrier in the sport that had been segregated for more than 50 years. Exactly 50 years later, on April 15, 1997, Robinson's groundbreaking career was honored and his uniform number 42 was retired from Major League Baseball. Robinson was the first ever number retired by all teams in the league. Know your history.
Visionary, I'm a leader, I'm extraordinary. No lies can get you down sometimes, it seems. I'll never let it take away my dream. I stay positive, fill my life with laughter. Peace is how I live, joy is what I'm after. My heart's content, love is my inspiration, and it's heaven sent. I know my destination. I'm a dreamer, I'm a visionary, I'm a leader, I'm extraordinary. Though life can get you down sometimes, it seems. I'll never let it take away my dream. I'm a dreamer, Though life can get you down sometimes, it seems. I'll never let it take away my dream.